On the list of frequently asked questions, the subject of watering bonsai is perhaps the most common and important of all. Watering is a very difficult skill to master, but watering correctly will ensure that your bonsai stays alive and healthy. Please bear in mind that the frequency of watering will vary from climate to climate and day to day, and is dependent on the soil medium one uses. The watering techniques covered here are based on the soil mixture discussed earlier, i.e. a porous mix of lava rock, pumice, and akadama, and are a general guideline to watering bonsai, but caution should be taken to adjust your own approach accordingly. Each species is different, each individual tree is different, and the weather varies from day to day, which makes proper watering very difficult to learn. In order to water properly, one has to be willing to adjust on a daily basis. For most people who work full-time though, this is rather difficult. Our best advice is to water your bonsai thoroughly each morning during the growing season, and spot check in the evening, watering dry trees again as needed. Here at Kokaen though, we keep a watchful eye on the bonsai at all times, and check water on a much more frequent basis.
Now that summer's getting ready to start and the temperatures are beginning to heat up here at the nursery, we have to be more aware of and sensitive to the changes in our watering practices. So the trees at this point, they've fully leafed out, the leaves have hardened off, so they're taking up a little bit less water than they were in the early spring. We have to make sure that we're watching each tree individually to ensure that the trees aren't drying out too much and that they're also not getting too much water either. Here at Kokaen, we check the trees about 4 times every day once the summer season rolls around. So we come in early in the morning, usually around 8:30, 9 o'clock. We'll walk around the nursery with the watering can, we'll spot check, and we'll water the driest trees in the nursery. Then we'll come back around 10:30 or so, water pretty much every tree in the nursery at that point, with the exception of trees that are very, very, very wet. After lunch, we'll check one more time with the watering can, spot checking trees that are very dry. And again, later in the afternoon, usually around 3:30, 4 o'clock, we'll check one more time with the hose and heavily water any trees that are in need.
Adjust the pressure and allow the hottest water to escape from the hose before watering your bonsai. When watering, hold the nozzle firmly, but allow your wrist to be loose enough to fluidly water the whole soil surface smoothly and evenly, aiming for the base of the trunk and trying to keep as much water flowing into the pot as possible. Be sure to water all of the soil surface, front, back,